Good afternoon. Today we will be discussing the poetry written by William Shakespeare, and the poem is Like as the Waves, written in the pattern of English sonnet, or uh, if we analyze it more precisely, it could be termed as Shakespearean sonnet, a typical Shakespearean sonnet. And as we all know, a sonnet is a poem written in 14 lines. This particular poem has 4 stanzas in total. The 3 stanzas are similar in size, that means 4 lines each. 4 into 3 is equal to 12, and 2 lines as concluding couplets, written in the tradition of heroic couplets. So, that makes the 14 lines of this particular poem. We will continue with the summary and analysis, explanation of this poem. The poem is also titled as Sonnet 60. So Shakespeare wrote so many sonnets and he numbered them. And this particular poem is termed as Sonnet 60 according to its position in the book of sonnets written by William Shakespeare. So this one comes just after the 59th poem, so it is termed as Sonnet 60. This is one of the most famous of the sonnets and perhaps the best illustration of the theme of the ravages of time. Each quatrain means each line in the poem, in the stanzas, and each stanza is a quatrain, that means it consists of 4 lines. Each quatrain engages the theme in a unique way, with the destructive force of time redoubling with each successive line. Although the poet seems certain that time's destruction is inevitable, he is nonetheless hopeful that his verse will get away with it in the end. So he challenges the strength of time through his last 2 lines, concluding couplets, and he wrote them in the tradition of heroic couplet. The 2 lines pose a challenge to time that these words will stand the ravages of time. These words would not be destroyed by the strength and force of the time. Time is a great slayer or a destroyer which destroys everything, but these lines will stand and will not be destroyed. In quatrain 1, the flow of time is compared with the incessant beating of the waves against a shore. And the poem in itself bears the title Like as the Waves. So he has incorporated a simile in the very first line of this poem, and the opening words in the very first line make the title of this poem Like as the Waves. Each wave building in strength and then crashing down again, only to be followed by another in its place. Every wave is followed by another wave. The second quatrain uses the sun as a metaphor for human life. It is born, and he has used the word nativity for it, as we all know, that nativity also bears a resemblance to the birth of Christ. And the place where Jesus was born, it was originally a stable, and now there lies a church in its place, and that particular church bears the name the Church of Nativity, and that lies in Bethlehem. So nativity means birth, and crawls like a baby, and until it reaches its highest point, or we can say pinnacle, whereupon it is crowned with maturity, and then proceeds to fall back into the darkness. So every success is followed by a failure, and every failure is followed by a success, and This is the irony of human life. Then proceeds to fall back into darkness or death. Darkness, darkness and death are both comparable to each other. Line 8 concludes the metaphor with the assertion that time both gives the gift of life and takes it away again. So, human life is temporary. Time gives life to humans and then takes it away. So, time has great strength of imparting some good upon us and then again finishing it off. This sentiment is repeated in the lines 9 to 12, only more strongly and deeply. Time destroys the perfection of youth, he digs deep wrinkles in a beautiful face, endeavors the preciousness of nature in its most perfect shape, and nothing stands but for his sight to mow. And nothing stands. This is a quoted verse from the poem itself. Time and death, each other, were often pictured carrying a scythe. Scythe would mean a sharp object with having a razor's edge, and it finishes off, it cuts everything that comes in its way. Nevertheless, the final couplet speaks of the poet's intention to outsmart time himself, defying his cruel hand by eternalizing the fair lord in his verse. So, these two lines in the poems, which are concluding couplets, are dedicated to the memory of his friend. He dedicated this poem to his friend. And his friend was Fair Lord, a title holder in British House of Lords. This intention has been expressed in previous sonnets, 17 to 19, for example. If we could read those sonnets, we could find similar examples. Again, sonnet 60 may be the best example of the theme of the ravages of time. This time is prevalent throughout the sonnets, and it takes many different forms, sometimes referring to the destructive power of time in general. Other times focuses on the effort of time on a specific character in the sonnet, such as the narrator or the fair lord. The narrator seems to be hauntingly preoccupied with the passing of time and everything that it entails, including mortality, memory, inevitability, and change. He is distressed over such things that he has no control over. And at times he appears to be fighting a futile battle against time itself, just like the sun in the line 7 of the sonnet 60. Crooked eclipses against his glorified. This is the quoted verse from this poem. Finally, some scholars have suggested that the ordering of the sonnet does not in fact correspond to the chronological order of the events they describe. So, that's all for today, and hope you will and hopefully we will continue with the poetry in our next videos. Thanks for watching.